Hi guys, Lindsay here from Saddle Up. Today we are back with another video. We are going to be diving into how to check your saddle fit at home and how we go through the process here at our store. So we are going to show you what we do. We're going to put our saddle on, no saddle pad, just bare back, and we're going to go through how to feel for your saddle fit at home. And then again, just go over what we do here at the store. It's a very brief look into saddle fit, but it's something that might be a helpful tool for you at the barn or at home, wherever you may be. So let's get started. All right, so we have our saddle here. First thing I will say, and this is something we always do with our appointments too, we want to make sure that the horse is on flat level ground. Also, he is standing kind of cockeyed. It's very important and can really change things if the horse isn't standing square. So he just fixed it himself. He's a pro at this, but we always make sure that we are standing square just like that so we can really get an accurate feel. Want to make sure that the head is straight forward, not down grazing, not looking around, just standing here very nice and square. If not, it can definitely change the feel. A saddle could fit totally fine, but them just standing offset can change that, so this is a very important piece. Okay, so in our other videos, we had gone over saddle placement, so same thing goes here. I'm gonna do that cupping motion. I'm gonna find the back edge of this horse's scapula, and I'm gonna make sure that the front edge of my concho is lined up with that, so we're good, we're in the right spot. Okay, so now that we have our saddle lined up in the proper position with no saddle pad, this is how we check all of our saddles here at the store, and even at home, this is how you would check an adequate fit. We want to make sure that those angles are matching up to the horse's back. A pad is definitely going to just be something that you add later. The only time that you want something like a specialty pad, meaning a shim pad, a biofit pad, anything like that, is if your horse has a conformational issue that needs to be filled in or fixed. We always try to find the best fit possible without a saddle pad first. That's why we do it without a saddle pad. Ultimately, our goal is to find one that fits perfectly on the horse's back, and then we just add a regular saddle pad, which won't change your fit. However, sometimes horses do need something to fill in conformational issues, so that's when a specialty pad comes in. Ultimately, if your saddle fits fine here, you can use just a regular saddle pad and it won't change your fit. But if your saddle fits fine here, adding shims or any specialty pad could definitely change it. Again, this is just a brief look into saddle fit. We could go on and on about the different angles, the different saddle pads, but for now we're just going to keep it very basic and very brief as something for you to follow along at home. So our saddle is in the proper position. We're right at that back edge of the scapula with the front edge of the concho. So I'm going to take my hand, and you want to make sure that your hand is in an adequate position. We have a lot of customers when they come to us for saddle fits, they want to skim right here, like at the bottom of the skirts or the leather. Truthfully, your tree bar, which is what we're feeling, that's what we're fitting to your horse's back, this right here. Everything under and around is just cosmetic and does not play into fit. So that is why we get our hands really high up there. Like when I'm checking these saddles, my hand is about right here because that's along the physical tree bar. And it's all about matching up the angles. That's what we're looking for. The gullet is a really small piece. It is important, but it does not designate the whole saddle fit. This whole saddle needs to fit the horse's back. So it's a very big puzzle that we're trying to fit here, not just one piece. So just want to add that in there, but we need to make sure we're getting our hands up at the adequate position. I'm going to go ahead and start by feeling the shoulder. Again, I want it to make contact, but be in a smooth way here, no tight spots, no bridging where it's gapping, and no flaring where it's not making contact. We just want a nice smooth transition. So my hand is pretty far in here. I'm just going to slide down. So how my hand just easily slides through there, that is what we're looking for consistently all across this saddle. It's touching his back, but I can just easily slide my hand right through, just like that. Next, I'm going to take my hand. We're going to look for that same smooth transition all the way along the back. It's okay if you lose a little bit of contact in the center, but I mean a very tiny bit. Otherwise, we want that same smooth, consistent pressure all the way along with a very nice slide out the back here at the loin. So again, just that's what we're looking for at our shoulder. I'm going to take my hand. This part, especially where the screw is very important. This is actually the #1 spot that we find saddles don't fit horses. So just something to consider and watch when you're feeling. I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to go about clear up here to go all the way across. And I'm just going to take my hand and slide all the way through, just like that. It's okay if you move your fender, just make sure you're not lifting the saddle. But here we go, I'm going to do it again. So my hand is honestly right along there. It's very high up in there. So I'm just going to slide all the way through. There's no catches, no pinching, no big gaps, and I have a very nice slide out the back, just like that. So that is what you're looking for. Nice, smooth, even, consistent pressure. One thing I do want to mention that is more on the cosmetic side of saddle fitting is going to be making sure that the cosmetic side of the saddle matches the horse's body type as well. So that is a huge thing with skirt length. We see a lot of short-backed horses. Like this horse, he is very wide, but he is very short-backed actually. So I always like to watch, and this can be a controversial subject as well. So if you use a square skirt or a longer skirt on a shorter backed horse, just keep an eye on this hip. If you notice that it's impeding the horse's movement, if it's causing soreness, sometimes we'll even see a rub mark or a sore appear here because the skirt is just jamming into that horse's hip when it's moving. That is something that you need to watch for and be aware of. If it's not causing issues, there's a lot of people like in the reining world, in the cutting world, that their saddles kind of hang over the hips and they are fine. So take that and do what you will, but that's just something to watch for. If you have a shorter backed horse, you notice that the skirt is a little longer or maybe even square or pointed and it's causing issues at this hip, then that's something to keep an eye on. Okay, and the last thing I kind of want to cover just with the saddle fit, something to watch. This can be another controversial subject, but the wither clearance. How much room do you want here at your wither? Some people say they want a whole fist. Some people say just a finger or a couple fingers. Honestly, my thoughts on that is you don't necessarily want a fist under this saddle because that means that the angle of this saddle is not correct for that horse and it can't come down and hug this horse's back and shoulders. So then you're going to get a lot of rolling issues, a lot of soreness issues probably because it's too narrow. So I don't agree with needing a fist in between here. I do think that the wither does need room though. However, if your saddle is sitting down on that wither, 9 times out of 10, it's again just not the right angle for that horse. It could be too wide. So that's something to keep an eye on, but don't get hung up on needing a fist right here. A lot of times, even if we have just a pinky, if you add a pad with a wither cut out here, it lifts it up so that you have a couple fingers. But bottom line is you want wither clearance. I don't believe in having a fist. I usually go by like how this saddle looks right now. That is perfect to me. He's got a couple fingers. When I pop my saddle pad on that has the wither cut out, it's gonna give him even more clearance. So that is our thoughts on it. Again, take that how you will, but this right here is very adequate. Another quick little test that we do at the shop, and you can do this again at home. However, I want to reiterate, this is not how you should test your saddle fit. Testing saddle fit is all about the feel. Pictures don't do you justice, sweat marks don't do you justice. We could make a whole nother video about that. The bottom line, the most accurate way to feel a saddle and how it fits your horse is feeling how I just showed you. However, this is a nice tool. Obviously the saddle is not cinched down, it's not attached in any way. However, if it fits nicely, you should be able to put your hand in this stirrup, put quite a bit of weight on it, and it should not budge. So I mean, I'm putting quite a bit of weight on that saddle and it's not budging. So that's just another thing that you can test. Oftentimes we'll find if it's just maybe too wide or even too narrow, if you put even just slight pressure, the whole saddle rolls off. Again, you can probably make it roll off just because it's not attached, but that's just a good little tool to check. A lot of times we get horses, like this horse for instance, he is very wide and round, but he has a pretty decent wither. We see a lot of horses that come in through the shop that they are so round that they're what we consider a mutton wither horse. That means that they are just so round and full right here that their wither is almost non-visual, like you can't see it, it's there, but they're just so round, flat-backed and full that it looks like they don't have a wither. So oftentimes those horses can be tricky because you need something to grab a hold, and when there's not a prominent wither like this, it can cause some rolling issues. So that's something we'll check. Even if it feels fine, just pop some pressure in that stirrup and make sure there's no rolling or anything. One thing I want to talk about is just the importance of saddle fit. Saddle fit is still a very controversial subject in the horse industry. I feel like it's making big strides. It's a lot more common, but we still get a lot of gray area with that. Saddle fit is so important. The effects of having a bad fitting saddle, I mean, the list goes on, just to name a few. Behavioral issues, lameness issues, muscle atrophy, back soreness. I mean, pretty much anything can go back to saddle fit. Maybe not always the cause, but it definitely can go back to saddle fit. We have fixed a lot of issues with saddle fit, and it really just makes for a better ride and a happier horse. So the importance of saddle fit is huge. If you ever have any questions, we are always happy to help. We help people locally, internationally, out of state, the whole 9 yards. We do saddle fits here at our location. We have a saddle fitter that comes out to your location. We have quite a few different options to try and educate because it is our passion and saddle fit is just very important. So that's the message that we want to get out. This is just a very brief go over. So if anyone ever has any questions or comments, please let us know. Otherwise, if you are interested in saddle fit and maybe want yours checked or just want the full experience, go ahead and schedule one with us and we are happy to help. Thank you for watching and hope you have a good day.